So my name is Diane Hull. I work in career services and I work on the team that works with graduate students and postdocs.
My name is Esther Rott, and I'm one of the advisors that works with the teams that work with the team that works with the schools of nursing, graduate school of education, and social policy and practice.
And we are excited to welcome you to the Career Champions Conference and to talk a little bit about how you can make the most of your new role at Penn. So some of you may be in new roles at the university and having been here for a few years. Some of you may be new to Penn altogether. And hopefully we're going to give you some tips today that will be helpful for you as you move forward in your career. So first, we wanted to tell you just a little bit about career services. For those of you that may be less familiar with career services, we are a centralized career office, which serves most Penn students. We do serve the vast majority of students across campus, with the exception of a few professional schools that have offices that serve their students individually. We do work on teams based on student population. So as Esther mentioned, she works with students in nursing, GSE, and SP2. I work on the team with graduate students and postdocs in 7 of Penn schools. There's another team for Wharton undergraduates, for engineering students, for college undergraduates. So what we always want staff to know is that when you refer a student to our office, you are referring them to a career advisor who works with students just like them every single day. So always want to let people know that. We do offer loads of programming and events for students, and we offer alumni advising for life. So for those of you, again, who are working on campus with students or alums, rest assured, and I answer this question a lot right after graduation, all alums get career services for life. So it's not like you graduate and then you can't use our services afterward. So creating a career plan in a new role. These are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. What are some immediate things that you can be doing now to really set yourself up for success in your new role at Penn? What kind of institutional training does Penn offer to you? And other kinds of resources? And what resources might you recommend to a student in a new role? So all of you interact with students in some way, shape, or form, whether it be on an hourly basis, daily basis, weekly basis, but you're all going to be interacting with students at some point in time who are moving into a new role, whether they're graduating or doing an internship. What might you recommend to them about career services or about networking in general? And how to use these tools to create short and long-term goals. So congratulations, you're in a new role at Penn. What are some easy things that you should be doing right away? First thing is updating your LinkedIn profile to announce your new role, right? You want to share with everyone in your network that you're in this new role and that you're excited to be here. Connecting on LinkedIn with anyone that you met through the interview or new hire process, right? So as you interviewed for your role at Penn, again, whether you were an internal candidate or whether you were an external candidate to Penn, you definitely met with people along the way, some of which you may now be colleagues or supervisors or team members. Others may be in other offices that you may not have the opportunity to interact with a great deal, but connect with them on LinkedIn, right? Remind them that you're here. And thank anyone that assisted you in or advised you in moving into your new role. So I'll show you an example of this. So about a year ago, I was promoted into a new role at Penn as a senior associate director. And this is the post that I made on LinkedIn to announce that I was in this new role. I'm excited to share I'm taking on a new role at Penn as the senior associate director. So happy to continue to work with my amazing colleagues. Many thanks to Joseph Barber, who, if you were on the program earlier today, is running a lot of the programs today, and mentioning his creative leadership and mentoring. So this is an easy thing to do. Some of you may or may not have updated your LinkedIn profiles in recent times. And so here are some great resources that can help you. One of the things that you get access to as a Penn employee is LinkedIn Learning. This is a screenshot of LinkedIn Learning, and the first course that they have is Rock Your LinkedIn Profile. Of course, it is a LinkedIn Learning, so of course they're going to have a lot of opportunities there. You can also check out over on Career Services videos that we have about LinkedIn as well. So this is an example of what to do with LinkedIn for master's students. This was done last fall as part of our graduate career skills series. You as an employee are welcome to hop onto YouTube and see any of our videos that might be interesting to you. So what are some resources here at Penn as a new employee or someone in your new role that you're going to have access to that's going to help you kind of make the most of your first year here at Penn? So if you are a new employee, you definitely took a look at this orientation and onboarding website is all of the training that you have to do when you're a new employee. But you'll see over on the left-hand side, there's a lot of resources, and Esther's going to go over a lot of those later on in the presentation. But I wanted to highlight some of the immediate things that you can utilize in Workday. So if you are a new employee to Penn, you will have a 120-day introductory period. If you are transitioning into a new role but have already worked at Penn, it's a 90-day introductory period. As a part of that process, when you first start, you and your supervisor are creating actionable goals, things that they want you to accomplish and that you want to accomplish in your first 120 days. There's a check-in at the 60-day mark to kind of see where you are. And then there's some goal management tools, as well as looking forward with your goals, right? At the end of this 120-day introductory period, now you're creating more goals long-term. So let's take a look at some of these things in Workday. So these are the three pieces of the introductory period, that initial goal setting session, an interim evaluation at the midpoint, and then a closing evaluation to be completed at the end and then acknowledged. So some of you, if you're within that 4-month range right now, are in the process of doing this. Workday has some really great information about how you can create different kinds of goals that are manageable. So there's different types of goals. They're saying performance and operational, projects and initiatives, competencies and interpersonal development. What are some of the things you'd like to be doing? And then professional development goals, right? What is it that you'd like to be doing to develop yourself as a professional? And so these resources can be really helpful to you as you're thinking about moving forward. You also get the opportunity to take a look at competencies. And there are 5 core competencies: accountability, collaboration, communication, customer focus, and values difference. And then there's other ones that you can add with your supervisor as well. And so these are some easy ways for you as a new employee or someone in a new role at Penn can take advantage of Workday to sort of make the most of this position. I always recommend creating actionable goals for this 120-day period because it's really satisfying, in your first 4 months to feel like you've really maintained some great pieces right at the front. So I wanted to share a little bit about some of the resources that you might recommend to students to assist them in their creation of goal setting. So a couple of resources that we have here, some of which you as a Penn employee have access to as well. So my IDP is my individual development plan for STEM PhD students and postdocs. Most STEM PhDs, depending on the department or division that they're here at Penn, participate in this when they're a new student, but this is a great place to start thinking about goals. For those of you that may interact with students, PhDs and postdocs in the humanities and social sciences, Imagine PhD is a great resource as well. For those of you who may work with master's students, Beyond Graduate School is an excellent resource to help in creating different kinds of goals. But fun fact, as an employee at Penn, you are welcome, whether you have a master's degree or not, to take advantage of Beyond Graduate School. All you need is your Penn key to log in. And this is a great resource. And it has lots of what I'm going to call forward-focused lessons that you as an employee can use too. So you see here, they have an entire lesson on making the most out of your next opportunity. And these are short videos with actionable steps that you can take to put together some of the goals that you might be thinking about. So let's talk a little bit about networking, because I think one of the most powerful things that you can do in your new role is really work to build relationships across the university. So to talk a little bit about what is networking, it's really building relationships with individuals who work in a field of interest, right? Talking with a clear goal in mind to help people to gather information and to research particular fields. And really, when you think about networking, you want to think a little bit about how it is 50% gathering information and 50% sharing information in order to achieve career goals. And so I think that this is one of the best things that you can be doing is making connections with people across the university. So one of the things that we refer to are informational interviews. And so let's say that you're a new employee here at Penn and you want to learn a little bit more about what other offices do, a little bit about how their interactions might be. Informational interviews might be a great approach. You may not necessarily use the language of informational interviews with a particular contact here at Penn. You might say, I'd like to chat with you. This is really the framework that we're following, and I think this will make sense as we go on. So it really is a form of networking to gather information about career fields. You can do an informational interview with anyone here on campus. You can meet virtually, you can meet in a coffee shop, in a lunch place. You can meet anytime during your graduate studies, anytime when it's convenient for them. And again, you can meet in person or virtually. Why are these interviews important? And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out what kinds of career paths might be out there. What do other people here at Penn do that might be helpful? One of the things that you definitely might have learned if you're a new person here at Penn is we use a lot of acronyms, right? We abbreviate everything here, and it doesn't make sense sometimes to people outside of a particular office or division. So if you listen to the way that professionals talk about what they do and how they do it, you're really going to learn more about Penn and begin developing potential professional relationships. And it's a great opportunity for you to talk about yourself and sort of refine your narratives and think about what it is you want to be doing. Who on campus might you be able to do informational interviews with? Start with people that you already know, right? So perhaps you met someone during the interview process while you were interviewing for your role who seems really interesting. You may reach out to them and say, I really enjoyed meeting you during my interview. I'd love to connect with you in some way and chat more about what it is you do. It's easy to find department colleagues, division colleagues, other kinds of campus partners. You can also tap into your alumni networks and other networks. So if you're here at Penn, but maybe you went to another institution for your undergraduate, for instance, I went to Lehigh, maybe I'd be curious to see what other Lehigh alums might be here at Penn that I might be able to connect with in some way, shape, or form. LinkedIn is a great place to start for this. So why do you want to network, right? These are some of the things that you might be thinking about in terms of networking, getting a job and learning about new opportunities, but you're also trying to learn more about Penn, right? How do employers differ? What skills do you need to know? All kinds of networking questions. And so here are some places that you might think about who on campus might you be able to start networking with. Here are some of the people that, people across campus that you might be interested in trying to reach out to. Contacts from other interests, former coworkers, if you've transferred into a new role here at Penn and you really want to keep in touch with former coworkers, previous employers, other people on campus that you collaborate with. Tips for reaching out. So it's really just a quick email that who you are, why you're reaching out, what you have in common is, and what your ask is, and really express your gratitude for them taking the time. So one of the resources that we have here at Penn that might be really helpful for you is this informational interviewing guide. This was written as a guide for graduate students and postdocs, but it's really very universal information that can be very helpful. These are low stress interactions that I think can be very helpful to sort of learn a little bit more about what else is out there. And you can set these meetings up specifically. It's going to give you some ideas about what kinds of questions you might want to ask. And it is really the best use of your time in terms of exploring careers and making connections. If you're trying to find Penn employees here that maybe have a similar background to you, get onto LinkedIn and you can click on My Employer and you will have access to this employee-only experience. So you'll see here, I'm saying University of Pennsylvania, 40 coworkers recently joined the University of Pennsylvania. And so you might be able to see other new employees as well. And here are some people who were recently promoted in roles at Penn. So you might want to connect with them as well. Tips for a good conversation. I think this is always something to think about. Thank people for their time. Active listening is really important, right? So you're here to learn and to find a little bit of information. Sharing appropriately, but really you're trying to convey interest in their career path, and asking good questions focused on experiences, open-ended questions that you can prepare ahead of time. After you have met with someone, you really want to jot down some notes, right? Because you're learning a lot in your new role here at Penn, and it can be very easy to sort of forget who you talked to or if someone gave you a good pointer. Send them a thank you note. Say, hey, thanks. It was really great for me to talk to you. Sending a LinkedIn request to connect with a personalized note if you haven't connected with them on LinkedIn prior, and then reaching out to other contacts suggested for informational interviews, right? So you might say, hey, it's been really helpful for me to talk to you. Are there other people on campus that you might be interested in? Here's a really sample thank you note. Thanks so much. I enjoyed hearing about your projects at Penn, how you leveraged your social science training as you applied for jobs here. Thanks for suggesting to your two friends and colleagues. So again, you really want to be grateful and thank you and thank people for taking the time. Then you really want to think about how you can maintain this relationship, right? So some people that you meet with, so let's say someone in my office gets hired and they sit right down the hall for me and they want to go out for coffee to sort of have a conversation and learn about my career. That's an easy relationship to maintain, right? Because we are right down the hall from each other. We may work together on a regular basis. But let's say I'm newly hired and I connect with a Lehigh alum who works in another office on campus, and we don't really interact very much on a daily basis. I want to try and keep in touch, right? So that I can, be aware of what they're doing, aware of what I might be interested in doing, and seeing ways that you might collaborate as you move forward. So building relationships takes time. If they've been helpful to you, stay in touch for the long term. Using LinkedIn to stay in touch, like and comment on their posts and updates. Maybe 6 months after I meet with someone who's an alum from my undergraduate institution, they're featured in an article and I'd like to compliment them on that. Other ways to kind of see that person again, using the holidays to reconnect, sending an update when you have news to share, asking any kind of additional advice, sharing an article, and say thank you. If someone provides you with information that's helpful, and then you want to thank them later.
So this section comes from Penn-HR. I highlighted some resources that they offer, and some of these you may know about already. But as you know, our main sort of system with payroll and things is tied to Workday. But Workday also has a section in it called Workday Learning. And so in order to know a little bit about it, you can go in here and take some of these quick link learning opportunities and tutorials to get familiar with it. This is also a place, as you probably already know, where you can take your PTO, where you can also figure out how much you've accrued. You can also look and see what other jobs are posted in other departments, and that may be helpful to you, especially as you settle into your role and look and see if there are other opportunities that you might be interested in. LinkedIn Learning is a resource that's also available to you. We have a plethora of LinkedIn Learning courses, and so we encourage you to take advantage of these. And, I was talking to a colleague yesterday, and they were saying, I never had that till I came to Penn. So definitely take advantage of this opportunity. You can really, the sky's the limit here, because you can, do a training on data analytics, or you could do a training on how to negotiate your salary. There's so many different types. So I would definitely take advantage of the LinkedIn Learning access. These are some examples: professional networking, how to network when you don't like networking, networking as an introvert, building professional relationships. Our team, the graduate advisors in our office, did a LinkedIn Learning on how to advocate for yourself, which we thought, which was fun to do as a team. There are also opportunities through Penn-HR to do leadership development. Now, this is a little bit lesser known, but they offer 4 different types of leadership programs, and they have a cost tied to them. Often what happens is, if you're interested, you can mention this to your superiors, your managers, and some of the programs are they're by recommendation. Oftentimes your manager may feel like, oh, this would be a great opportunity for you. And it's something that your office may be able to sort of partner with you on. And so this is something to think about or keep on your radar. Again, there's different price points for these leadership development courses, but it is something that might be of help to you, especially as you grow in a position and grow in your role, or if you switch roles within Penn. Career coaching is also an option. You can sign up for this, and this is anyone who is a full-time or part-time salaried staff, and you have to have been in the position for at least a year. And you can make an appointment. You need your Penn Key login, and you can submit an appointment for what you want to be receiving coaching for. And so it's a very valuable resource. And these coaches, to my knowledge, are outside Penn folks. And so they are trained in career coaching, and they will help you in terms of trying to see and develop your career further within Penn. Another thing, and this is something that our office offers as well to our students, but self-assessments are also available to you as our colleagues. You have the opportunity to see if you want to explore in your career. Sometimes you're in a role and you're thinking, well, I can see myself doing this, or I have these types of tendencies. And so you may not be able to name or put um, sort of language around some of your interest areas. And these self-assessments may give you sort of insider knowledge on that for yourself. So they offer the strong interest inventory, also the Myers-Briggs. And these are things that we often will, offer to our students as well. So these are tools that you can take along for your own self. And this is something you can initiate with HR. So tuition benefits, many of you know and take advantage of this or will take advantage of it, but you have the option to have tuition benefits for yourself and for your family members and for your partners. And so we definitely, I know folks in our office, our colleagues have definitely taken advantage of this, but there are ways in which you can professionally develop yourself, whether it's taking a certificate course or taking one particular course if you're interested in a specific area. And whether it be picking up a language, there's so many opportunities here. So definitely take advantage of these tuition benefits for yourself, particularly for professional development, and also looking into obviously the attractive offers for your family.
Sorry, there was a quick question that I wanted to address.
Okay, sure.
In relation to tuition benefits. If a Penn employee pursues another degree, do they also get access to the same resources as graduate students that are not Penn employees? And the answer is yes. And I think your question is related to career services. Yes. So if you are a Penn employee who is pursuing a graduate degree at Penn, yes, you do get access to career services, meaning that you can schedule individual appointments as long as you are in a degree granting program at Penn, in a program that our office serves. So if you are taking a class, you would not get access to career services. But if you apply to and are accepted into a graduate program and are pursuing a degree, then yes, you would get access. So that's a great question.
There are some times when you feel like, I have a question about HR, I don't know who to contact, and I don't know who to ask. Here is a really valuable resource center. So our Penn HR Solution Center often has all the answers. And so I actually asked our business manager a question last week, and she said, I don't know, I'm gonna email the Penn Solution Center. And so this is a great resource to have handy if you have a question about HR or anything about Penn and its benefits or anything related to accessing that. You can email here or go onto their webpage and see if you can find the answers there through them, and you can submit a ticket, submit a question. I actually just emailed them and was able to get responses. So our colleague Susan was saying they always respond right away and they always give her the answer that she needs. So this is a great resource to have handy. So these are university-wide resources that are available to our students, and they are available to you too. And these are just some resources that are on campus. Many of them are cultural houses that you also, as a Penn employee, also have access to and can utilize. So the African American Resource Center, the LGBT Center at Penn, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Penn Women's Center, the OAA and EOP office, and the AVP and EAP programs. So I'll tell you, a couple weeks ago, I actually met up with a colleague and we actually sat outside at the Penn Women's Center to have lunch. And I had actually never done that. And I've been at Penn for a while. So it was really nice to be in a different corner on campus and enjoy lunch there. So there are open spaces there that you can go to. And I see a question here. What are the other cultural centers houses? So there's Patch, Pana Asian American. And there's also the Office of the Chaplain. That's not a culture house, but that's also another resource that you can tap into. And there's also the Greenfield Intercultural Center as well. Wellness and work-life balance. So there are several resources here that you'll be will like to hear about. A really popular one is our Be in the Know resource. I know one resource that that is offered here that's very popular that I know a lot of our colleagues have taken advantage of is the biometric screening that they provide. It only happens several times a year. I think actually it just happened in May, and that was it filled up quite quickly, but they usually do one in the fall as well. And so this is a great way to get a screening. What they do is they take your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and different metrics. I think there's 4 metrics in total that they'll do, and they will share that information with you so that you can be in the know about your wellness. And so there is something called the Virgin Pulse Wellness Platform. And this is an app that you can download on your phone, and you can sort of quote unquote rack up points. And I believe there is a cash prize at the end if you rack up X amount of points. And so sort of a motivator for you to be, getting your steps in. You can log in, when you do any strength training, any sort of thing that adds to your point values, and everything has different points on there. You can sort of move your status in terms of standing with trying to get to that prize. And so I know of folks that have done pretty well, and they've won things. So it's exciting when you do, and it's also you have that benefit of being healthy and on the trajectory of a good place in your wellness. Along with that, Penn Healthy U has several workshops that are super valuable for your wellness. They have programs and they will offer workshops for emotional well-being, nutrition, weight management, preventive care, tobacco cessation, and fitness. I was actually telling Diane about this, but when we were prepping for this presentation, I had actually a couple weeks prior to that had for the first time taken a chair yoga class during my my lunch hour, and it was super energizing and super fun because Penn colleagues from all across the university logged on online, and we did this 30-minute chair yoga exercise, and it was super centering and just a break from the everyday. And I actually, that particular day, I didn't have time to go outside, so it felt nice to have those 30 minutes to myself and have just time to work on setting my mind for the rest of the day. So highly recommend some of their programs. There is nutritional counseling as well, and all of these are offered to you depending on what you're interested in. Deals and discounts. So as a Penn employee, you have opportunities for many different types of discounts. You decide at Penn is a portal for you for vendors that you can have access to that are local to Philly, but also worldwide or nationwide. You might be able to get discounts on rental cars, museums, things like that. And so there are a lot of perks in here. I know one that my family has taken advantage of is a YMCA membership that you get a tiny bit of a discount on as a Penn employee. And there are other gym membership discounts that you can get as well. But it also, you can also get discounts to Penn games. There's also deals with, your cell phones and things like that. So take a look at this section to see if there's anything here that's of interest. There is so much, and so it really depends on you. And I know that even for folks that have been at Penn for a long time, this is something they actually forget is an option. So it's great to have this earmarked in case you're interested in going somewhere, traveling. There are a lot of options here. So our resources, our career services resources, we have many things on our website that are also available to you as well as an employee. Many of our things that we have really, as Diane said, requires a Penn ID. So the lunch club is one item. This is a platform that helps match you depending on your interests to help practice networking. So you can be matched with anyone in the world, and you can find someone to network with. And so we actually had a colleague that liked to do this every now and then. She thought it was super fun to meet new people, and you can practice with no risk really to find out about another person and practice some of the networking questions that you might ask. Our Career Services YouTube has a plethora of information. And this is something that is not on like lock and key. It's open to the public. And so you can subscribe to our Penn Career Services YouTube link and you can reference it for yourself, or you can share it with a student. I know several people, that will share this, with other folks that they know or people in their lives. So this is very open, and you are welcome to all of the information here. These are many of the workshops we've done. They will hit different populations. There are so many things for first gen students, international students, graduate students, just so many different types of populations that we gear our workshops to. And there's something for everyone here that you can probably glean information from.